This week, we got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about the EA FIFA situation. We got to talk about Nintendo sales. And we got to talk about some unfortunate delays. So let's just hop right into it together as a people and take it out. And welcome to another sensational Sunday. I'm Mike, and we're gonna hop right into it. This week we're talking about EA and FIFA, the breakup, the notorious breakup. So you may have already heard about this, but EA has decided to not license the FIFA name anymore for its soccer games, or football as it's known outside of the United States. So to break down what went down, basically FIFA was like, you only paying us $150 million a year to use our name, and you making all this money off this game. We gonna need double that. And I was like, $150 million a year and they need double? They tripping. Not saying that EA, doesn't making their money and everything, and they could probably afford it, but I don't know. $150 million just for the name FIFA, that's kind of a lot. So essentially EA is gonna continue to make soccer games, or football games, like I said, outside of the United States. And they're just gonna call it EA Sports FC. So in 2023, that's when the new title would debut. And they're still gonna have most of the teams and everything in the game still, because they had to do individual deals with those teams anyway for them to be in the FIFA game. So those deals are still in place. Basically what they're gonna be missing are things like the World Cup and some of the tournaments. They can't use those because those are FIFA and of course the FIFA name. But as far as the teams and players and everything, most of them are still gonna be in the new version of the game. And then FIFA is gonna go shop around, I guess, their name elsewhere for another developer to take a crack at doing a FIFA game. So that's where we're at right now. I don't really follow sports closely. I do remember hearing some bad things about FIFA as an organization, like with some of the football teams being unhappy with them. I don't know too much about it, but I just found it weird that they're asking for double the money all of a sudden. I mean, FIFA, from what I heard, does make a lot of money because of aggressive microtransactions. So it's not like EA wasn't making a bunch of money off of the FIFA name and doing this game, but also I still feel like asking double is kind of a lot. Now let's kick that story out, and we're coming in with a big, hot, nasty delay as Bethesda came out and announced that both Starfield and Redfall are going to be delayed until 2023. So I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to be 110% honest with y'all. I didn't even know Starfield was supposed to come out this year. Like, I forgot. I haven't really seen that much footage from it. So I just assumed that it wasn't even coming out until like 2023 or 2024. And then Redfall, I haven't really followed too closely. So forgive me on that one. But if you are following those games or waiting for those games, they're not coming out this year. They've been delayed until early 2023. So Phil Spencer and of course Bethesda came out with an apology, which I kind of feel like if that game came out this year, it probably would have been really late in the year anyway. None of the people that I talked to have really even mentioned that they're waiting for Starfield. So I'm sure it's going to be a great game when it comes out, but I don't know if the hype train was quite there yet. It wasn't like a Cyberpunk situation where the hype train was at max and then it gets delayed. So I think we good. I think we good for right now. Finish the game and then put it out when it's done. But done in the Bethesda way where it's still extremely buggy, but somewhat playable. And you know what? Since we're already on the topic of Microsoft, let's talk about this whole Microsoft Activision Blizzard merger deal thing. It's not really a merger, they're just buying the company. One of the rumors are, well, it's not really a rumor, it could possibly become true, depending on how much money they make, that they could become number 2 as far as game sales. So they could actually overtake Sony and become the second biggest company or highest grossing company in games behind Tencent after this deal goes through. So right now, Microsoft is currently 4th behind Apple. So it's Tencent, Sony, Apple, and then Microsoft as far as the top 4 for gaming profits. But them combined with Activision Blizzard would put them second in front of Sony. Now, we're just talking about profits related to gaming here. Of course, as a company, Microsoft as a whole with all their products worth a lot more than Sony, but we're just talking about how much they make revenue-wise from gaming. Obviously, Sony makes more because the PlayStation, it was super popular. But it'll be interesting to see what happens after this whole deal goes through. If it goes through, we'll just have to wait and see. Speaking of revenue, let's hop over to Nintendo because we got the good news and we got the bad news. So let's start with the bad news. So Nintendo has got out there and said that basically they're still being affected by the chip shortage, so they haven't sold as many consoles as they were expecting to. So for the fiscal year 2022, originally they had forecasted they were going to sell 25 million, then they lowered it to 24, and then 23, and they're saying that they're predicting they're going to sell less because they're still being affected by the chip shortage, and they have already projected down for fiscal year of 2023 to 21 million. So essentially what that means is they're expecting to make less money because of the chip shortage, and they're saying that that's going to allow them to produce less units. But I'm just personally wondering if it's just because the system is like 5 years old now, and it's just at that part of its life cycle where the sales are going to start to slow. So that could be part of it as well. I mean, I haven't personally seen the Switch be sold out since the beginning of the pandemic. Like, I see them pretty regularly now, but that's just me in my area, so I can't say like what it looks like worldwide, of course. I'm just in the United States and the East Coast. I have that to base it off of, and then what I see online availability in the US. So it could be like other parts of the world are being hit harder as far as Switch shortages. I'm not 100% sure, but the point is they're expecting the sales of the Switch to slow down. Could this be a sign that we're ready to move on to the next thing? I'm not sure. But one thing I am sure about is the Switch overall has done really well, which is why the Switch has surpassed the PS4 in sales in the US. So this is kind of the big milestone because the PS4 did really well, but if the Switch has already surpassed the PS4 sales-wise in this point of its life cycle, the PS4 is not likely to catch up, as this article points out, because, you know, the PS4 has pretty much been replaced by the PS5 already, and the Switch is still Nintendo's only console. The Switch is more likely to continue to sell better than the PS4, considering that the PS4 is already on its way out the door. It's also predicted that if they do meet their sales quota, that 21 million, then they will surpass both the Game Boy and the PS4 worldwide, not just in the US, by the end of the year. So that'll be interesting to see. The Switch has been super successful, so it's crazy to think that it's just going to be one of the best-selling systems of all time, but it has been overall a great system. So I guess it's not super surprising. It's not that crazy, but like I remember when it came out, and I was like, well, hopefully this will get them back on track from the Wii U, which only sold 13 million, and now they've sold well over 100 million Switches. So to come back from that and to do so well is kind of awesome. But you know what's less awesome? The fact that I gotta bring this video to a conclusion. But let me know what you think about all of these stories today. Do you think that EA not using the FIFA name anymore on their soccer games or football games outside of the US? We're the weird ones for using the term soccer. But do you think that it's going to affect their sales or the quality of the game without having the FIFA license? Are you disappointed that Starfield and Redfall are delayed? Do you think the Switch is not selling well because of the chip shortage, or do you think that maybe it's just on its way out finally, that the sales are going to start declining because it's an older system? Again, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to go ahead and hop out of here, but if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification to get notified when I drop a video. And always do at least 2 things at the same time.